Good morning. If you've ever dealt with an insurance company in regards to orthotics, you may have seen the phrase that you need a 3D casting technique. So today I will explain what that means. So casting techniques, that's basically the way that we capture your foot to create the mold for the orthotics. And the 3D, obviously that's a three-dimensional image of it. So there's many different ways to cast. The oldest method is your plaster cast. Your plaster cast is almost like a paper mache of the foot. They come in strips like these, and when you wet them, then they become flexible and you can mold it over the foot. Then you wait for it to hard, and that creates the cast. Typically, you're either lying down on your stomach or your back, or you could be sitting in a chair. So it's typically non-weight bearing, and that is the oldest way of casting, but that's still around. The next way of casting is called a foam box. They look something like this. So it's a foam that when you push the foot into it, it creates an impression. So that 3D impression is used to create the mold. That foam box is typically used semi-weight bearing, so the foot is pushed into the foam, and it can also be used full weight bearing, so the person's standing up and they're putting their full weight onto the cast. It just depends on what's needed. A wax cast is another method, so they use wax, they heat it up, and that's molded around the foot. Again, that can be non-weight bearing, that can also be semi-weight bearing or full weight bearing. There are also digital ways to capture the foot. Now, there are some that are actually 2D. So let's say you see a pressure map. So you step on something and it creates a bunch of different colors based on where the pressure is. That's a 2D method, but that can sometimes be used to let you know what's going on. So the clinician might see certain things when you're walking or when they're feeling the foot. And then when you're standing on that map and it'll show you where the pressure points are, it might just give you a better idea about where certain things are collapsing and where you're putting a lot of your pressure. But there are ones that are 3D that you can use that are also digital. There are some that are a full scanner, so your foot is pushed or placed against a glass, and then it scans the bottom of the foot, and that creates the 3D image. There are also scanners that are attached to an iPad, and they hold the iPad and scan the foot that way. That can also be a 3D method. And there are some where you put your foot on, the pins come up, and that will also capture certain points of the foot, and that can also be a 3D image. There might be other ones out there. Those are just the ones that come to mind and that I'm most familiar with. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I would be happy to help.